It's Tall Can Audio.
Here it is!
Game 2 in the books. Leafs down 2-0 heading back to Florida, and it remains one of the unceasing, unrelenting mindfucks of being a Toronto Maple Leafs fan that you sit there watching this game going, yeah, we deserve to be down right now, but also we deserve better than this right now.
To be winning.
My name is Matt Robinson. I'm playing sad. His name is Matty Lang. He's playing hurt tonight. What's going on, buddy?
Man, I feel empty. I feel empty after watching that one.
Yeah, I get that. Leafs dropped this one after a pretty solid start, a horrible start to the second period, and then honestly kind of controlled play through the third period. There's a few different things we could touch on, Matty, but it starts here. You're in trouble.
Yeah.
You're in trouble now, right? Like, it's the old adage was always, you're not in trouble till you lose at home.
Yeah.
And sometimes you take that, sometimes you leave it. It makes some sense. It's not always there. When you lose both at home to start a series,
not good.
nah, you're in trouble.
Not
now.
Good.
What are you taking away from this one, Matty?
Oh man, that I wish I didn't pay attention in statistics to know that we are in trouble.
Yeah.
I am taking away the fact that Florida has won now 5 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're due. They're due for a stinker. I am taking away that why does it always seem to be that the goalies the Leafs play revert to their 10-year younger self? Like, why is SergeiBobrovsky all of a sudden like flat Earth SergeiBobrovsky
Said that
back in the day?
To our buddy Bunda on Twitter today, man. I put that out there. He's talking about the Leafs getting Bobrovsky, and I'm like, the rest of the league gets overpaid, hilarious $10 million disaster Sergei Bobrovsky. We get Vezina Bobrovsky.
Like he looked like Dominic Hasek out there today sometimes. We peppered them with like 36, 37 shots. I don't remember the last count there.
Yeah.
But there was a point there, and not the whole game obviously, but there was parts of that game where it felt like the ice was tilted.
Mm-hmm.
Willie had chances. Matthews had chances. God, McCabe had chances, and it just the puck just
shoot it, you asshole.
Wouldn't go in. Like, how many times did it feel like the puck just went through the crease?
Yep.
And you're sitting there going, okay, like the next one, okay, that's gonna bounce off a skate. That's gonna hit a guy.
It sounds like you are
wasn't
exactly
happening.
where I was at, man, in that third period where it's just a matter of time. They're playing well enough, we're going to tie this. Nope, you're not. And now you're
I was not in that same worried kind of phase as we were. I can't remember what was it, game 5 against Tampa, where I was like, oh man, like I'm a little stressed out. I don't like this. I don't like the feeling of this game. This game, I mean, yeah, we came out. You knew as soon as Florida came back out of that other, what was it, the second penalty kill, they started laying the body. I'm like, okay, no worries. We're just going to even it out here. It ends up being 2-1. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
They come out, have an amazing 2 minutes. Then the game kind of settles back in. And then we start putting the pressure on, and we just couldn't bury the fucking puck.
Yeah. No, it's
and it
true.
was so fucking frustrating. This was the type of game I told you I was worried that they were going to have against Tampa. And those bad thoughts would come into their head.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because to me, in my weaker moments, I allow myself to sink back and go, there's a little karma here, right? For being outplayed so badly at times in that Tampa series and getting wins, and now coming back and carrying the play the way they did through a lot of this game and not getting the win that you feel like you deserve. And that's,
no. Wait
that's
a second.
the hockey gods thing, right? That's things evening out.
We watched Montreal go all the way to the finals and not be the better team in any one game. Not one goddamn game where they were a better team than anybody. We got Sam Bennett throwing rock bottoms out there.
Yeah, which you can check out on our on Maddie's Twitter at Matthew Lang or on our Instagram at Tall Can Audio. We've got it posted up in both places. Maddie went and ran the Jim Ross audio back over it, which is always classic. Look, we can get into a few things here. Let's kind of walk through this kind of step by step. I thought in the first period, like everybody else, the crowd was fired up. Like game one, Maddie, I know you were a little under the weather, so you weren't able to join us after game one. That didn't feel like a second-round playoff game, right? Both teams had been through a war, been emotional in their victories. There's no real rivalry there. It just kind of was what it was. In Game 2, you come out going, okay, this shit's for real. And the Leafs came out pretty hard, like playing pretty well, and they get 2 power plays. They end up 2-0. And that second power play comes on the heels of a TV commercial break. And I don't know why, Maddie, but I felt like coming out of that commercial, the crowd had already died, right? They went through that 6-minute stretch before the first commercial. You're up 2-0. You've got 1 on the power play, all that stuff. But as you start that second power play, the building had already quieted. Things kind of calmed down. The power play looked a little less urgent than the first one did. Yeah. And it kind of went from there the rest of the period. What did you think of the first period?
I mean, I just agree with you all the way around on that one, man.
Yeah.
They came out like you want them to come out, and they never seem to. They were on fire. They were skating downhill the whole time. They were imposing. They were making Florida take penalties the way you want them to do that. Mm-hmm. Because Florida's a super undisciplined team. You know you're going to get power plays. We've got a great power play. It's fucking magic, right?
Sure.
I don't care what Paul Murray says, right? Like, his team's been on the penalty kill all fucking season. Like, of course you're still going to be in the penalty kill.
Yeah, that whole thing coming into game one where he's making a point of telling the refs, like, hey, it's there 5 power plays to 1 for them. Yeah, you're one of the most penalized teams in the league. We're one of the least. Figure it out, man. This is the way it's supposed to look, but it doesn't usually, so.
Yeah, I mean, well, fuck, if we keep playing like this, then we're not going to need any help, quite frankly, or they're not going to need any help. Fuck, man, you're right. I don't know what it was because the crowd was fired up.
It was hot,
and I tell you, I left the condo twice today to run some errands, and the second time I was out around 5:30, and you can see people starting to come in.
Yeah,
people are walking down, right? Because nobody's really, if you're living in the city, you're not really driving in, right? So you're walking down.
Yeah, you're starting to see
you're walking down to the
around downtown.
And you're seeing it. You're just seeing it.
Yep.
You're seeing it, and you could feel the buzz. And I was like, oh, we got a little buzz today. I like this. Whether you're going to the bar, you're going to the game, there's a buzz in the city. And I was like, yeah, this is nice. This is good.
Right.
I don't know what happened in the arena. And I'm not one of these guys who hates on the people in the arena.
Well, I've always felt like, Maddie, the tax that Leaf fans pay is a quiet building through the regular season, while the bankers pay the bills for us, right? All the guys that are coming down off Bay Street. In the playoffs, it's always loud. And everyone every year is always like, oh my God, I can't believe Leaf fans are being loud. Shut up. It's every year in the playoffs, it gets loud, right? But for some reason, this went off a cliff after that first commercial break, right? So.
Sorry, Matt, you just made me think of something. It was Colby Armstrong had that clip that kept getting pushed around Instagram and TikTok and everything this past week where he was chirping Leafs fans for it being, when I played there, it was a notoriously quiet building. I'm like, buddy, when you played here, we were getting 20 wins a year.
You got nothing to cheer about. Of course it was quiet.
I'm not showing up to cheer for Colby Armstrong, okay? Right. Like, I hate to tell you, bud.
Right.
Him and that damn beak of his, like, there's a reason nobody was showing up that time, okay? I'm pretty sure that's actually when we bottomed out, thank God. I think that's actually what put us on the right path. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know, and that's the worst thing is, like, it felt like the team took their foot off the accelerator.
Yeah.
The fans did as well. And it Florida, like we talked about before, when we had gotten through, we were waiting for Game 7. I said, man, Florida's a good, strong team, and they just keep pushing. They're just consistently just shift after shift. Big, fast guys who just keep pushing every shift.
So later in the first period, it's kind of a few different things go wrong. Liljegren makes kind of a soft play, not hard enough in any direction, but at the same time, Tavares blows a wheel in front of the net, and I believe it was Reinhardt who makes the sweet backhand pass out in front to Anton Lundberg, and they tie it up, and you're still in control, no big deal, right? You come out, though, to start the second, and I know you got shit to say on this, but that's the game. It's like 1:06 long, where Florida not only ties it, but grabs the lead, and never looks back. And it doesn't matter that you carried play after that. It doesn't matter how many chances you created after that. That's the point where the wheels came off. And twice in a row, let's start with the first goal in the second period. It's the 2-2 goal. And it's weak by Nylander in the zone. It's weak by McCabe in the zone. I know a lot of people are shitting on Samsonov for that goal, and that might be fair. But it does look like, and a couple of the broadcasters have said the same thing, it dipped a little on him when it got through his arm. It's not a good goal, but there's enough blame to go around there. It's not all on Samsonov. It's kind of fluttering and dips on him. But he's got to stop it. What did you make of that one?
Man, I'm going to say this.
You're a little less forgiving?
I thought both the second and third goals, he needs to make a stop.
Okay, yeah.
I think, and I immediately messaged you after that third goal, and he still needs to make that stop. He was in the third goal, he was just out of position.
Yes. But on the second one, that's the one that goes between his arm and his body. And
you can't let that one up, man. This is the playoff. You can't. There has to be a time where, and I know what game did he win us? Game 4,
game 3 and 4, probably, yeah.
Right. And, I mean, he definitely earned his salary, but if you're going to win 16 games, we know this. This is the old adage, right? You got to ride a hot goalie. I don't care how good your team is. Your goalie has to come up with some save at some point in the game that he shouldn't.
So that's right. Stop the stoppables and stop some of the unstoppables, right? Is kind of the job. It's unfair.
You can't let the soft goal and the unstoppable win.
Right.
Because then you're just Edmonton.
Right.
Right.
So that's the second goal. And Nylander, Matthews, and McCabe all make soft plays there that lead to that one. The second one in the second period, that's the 3-2 goal where Florida takes the lead. It's Mitch who makes the soft play. So now all your stars have contributed in terribly.
And that one starts even worse, right? Because that starts behind our net in the corner. Couple soft plays in the corner where we should have gotten it out. We managed to get it out. God no, I don't know if Mitch Marner thought he was playing PS5 with a fucking ditzy doodle pass like that.
Super casual, right? Like Wednesday night against Columbus in January.
Wednesday night against. I'd get chewed out for making that pass playing beer league if that turned into a goal. Are you kidding me? I have to be buying beers at the end of the game. That's that type of like. I don't even like that type of pass in the in the neutral zone. Quite frankly, especially in a tight checking game like this. But man, you can't be making that at the blue line for God's sakes. Where it's just you've got that. It's like a wave going one way and a wave coming back the other way. And you didn't even make them pick the pass off. You put it right, like they were right on Matthews. Matthews couldn't do a damn thing.
Right.
And that was it, right? Like 2 passes. Samsonov's out of position. He probably thought we were in the other end, for God's sakes. I don't know. He looked a little concussed half the game, quite frankly.
Well, he got a couple off the mask. Let's talk about that for a second, because I started to see it. And look, Twitter's a terrible place to make, terrible place in general, right? But a terrible place to start making decisions from. But you did also, you can kind of take the temperature of the fan base there. After that 3-2 goal, I'm already seeing people calling for Joseph Woll. That sort of overlooks what happened in round 1. But look, Samsonov came into these playoffs without a good playoff record. I think he was 1-7 before this year.
Yeah.
So look, you're not completely sold, but at the same time, you don't want to turn the page too quickly. Did it cross your mind at all that you might have made the goalie change? And if it didn't then, is there any part of you thinking about it now going into game 3, or is this you let that guy off?
It crossed my mind as soon as that third goal went in. And I said in the first round, like, hey, not a lot of what he was doing was changing my opinion one way or the other on him.
Yeah.
I thought the game they pulled him was, just. We talked about that.
Game 1, they were getting pumped. Yeah,
way the game had turned so quickly in the second period that maybe Keefe makes that move to get the team refocused a little bit.
Right.
I thought, yes, I was especially second goal soft, third goal. Yes, it's a tough save. Yes, there's. Again, not totally his fault on that, but you got him. Like he was so far out of fucking position there.
Yeah.
He was nowhere near where he needed to be, and he got he left the cage half wide open, right? I thought that was an opportunity where Keefe could have made that decision, and it wouldn't have been a bad decision.
Because at the time, I believe it's 3 goals on 13 shots. Like, he's hardly been peppered, right? Like, it's...
And I think that the way that it just felt like, the wheels are falling off here. That's sometimes where you see some of those older school coaches kind of make that move and say, fuck it, let's get the other guy in. It's going to fucking piss off the team, get them going a little bit. Maybe that's what you got to do. It's not like we're talking about Carey Price here and you're yanking him out and, you're going to be fired the next day because you pulled Carey Price from a playoff game. We're talking about fucking Samsonov, right?
It is interesting, though, that Matt Murray's been practicing, but he hasn't played in however long, and I don't know what your faith level in him is. Joseph Woll had a very nice AHL season, and then is actually, whatever it is, 8-2-1 or something in his NHL appearances this year. But he's unproven. If you pull Samsonov and go to Woll, what are you saying to Samsonov? Can you go back?
You're saying he had a bad day, man. Everybody's
to
allowed
me,
a bad.
There was enough blame to go around on both of those goals that I wouldn't have yanked him yet. But if had another one gone in within the next 2 or 3 minutes, then I'd have done it. But to me, everybody, like I said, McCabe, Matthews, Marner, Nylander on those 2 goals, like everybody looks like shit. I'm probably not going to take that out on just him. That's sort of where I was at with it.
And totally not disagreeing with you. Again, I was, not hot taking it. I'm taking him out. I was more on, like you asked, right? Like that, it crossed my mind.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm starting to run that math in my head going, is it worth, is this, we're not in the room. We don't know what his psyche is. Nope. Is this going to fuck him up? Is this okay? Is he going to be okay with having a bad, all those questions. I think now you're in this position where you're going to game 3. You've got to stick with him now.
I think that's right. He's been your guy.
You've got to put him out.
Yeah.
You can't make that call. But you got to have whoever it is. If it's Murray on your bench, if it's Wall on the bench, you got to be tapping them on the shoulder as the guys go out for a skate and say, hey, buddy, if they get a quick 2 here, you're
leash. In. Yeah.
It's a super short leash today, and you're going in because we're going to need to make a change here. So, I don't envy their position at all right now with that, but I think that's where they are, right? And again,
to be fair, he reestablishes himself. Like, he's pretty good through the rest of the second as he takes a couple off the dome the rest of the way. Makes a huge save on Carter Verhaeghe early in the third period on a breakaway, and Verhaeghe's one of the best breakaway guys in the league. So, like, it's not like he played a shit game, but he was a part of playing like shit at the absolute worst moment while his team was also playing like shit. So,
and it's not a fair position to be in, right? You're a goalie. You're either going to be the star or you're going to get hung out to dry, and that's just what comes with the position, right? Like, that's unfortunate. But
so I don't think either one of us are calling for his head right now, but it was worth discussing. So the Leafs reestablished themselves kind of most of the way through the second period. They play pretty well. There's a couple moments where they got their hair on fire, running around, putting pressure on. Same thing through most of the third. Interesting numbers when you look at it. Leafs were it didn't feel like it at all. Leafs were outshot in the third period. And
really?
A lot of that is these great opportunities Toronto was putting up. A lot of them went wide, right? Shot chances, shot opportunities, high danger chances, all those things favored Toronto in the third period. But just in technically the shots on goal favored Florida, which is fucking weird. But you just couldn't get it to go. And Bobrovsky was terrific, right? It looks like we're getting Vezina Bob. That's not a whole lot of fun. And
what's the old TSN joke?
Bobrovsky, you're back on the case, right? Jay on, right? Bobrovsky, you're a liability. Right? Not right now. He's dominating. And like I said off the top, Matty, you're in trouble now, right? Down 0-2 to anybody.
You're in trouble. I'm not completely and I don't think any Leaf fan, I know we're all upset right now and we're feeling a little despaired. It's hockey. And the next 4 games could easily go our way.
Well,
the next 3 could.
New Jersey lost the first 2 against New York at home just last round and then came back and won the series. So it happens. But it's hard now, right?
It's a lot harder to win 4 games.
Yep.
When you've only got
You got to win 4 to 5 now. Like, that's all you got left.
Yeah, there's no other option, right?
Yeah.
Where they only got to win 2 in 5. It's just fucking easier, right? But if it's fucking hockey and the puck bounces and it does weird fucking shit and you can turn shit around pretty easy in a hockey series, it just now, we're good at fucking feel like a talking head on the sports net right now, but this is the times you have to go through in a playoffs where you get challenged, right? And you have to see, you're not going to win the Stanley Cup by, walking through a cupcake schedule.
In 16
there's no
games.
such thing. There's a reason they say this is the toughest championship to win in pro sports.
Yeah.
Right? It is a war every
doomed.
game.
It's not over.
You're not doomed.
It's hard, though. Like, you've put
yes,
yourself in a bad spot.
It sucks saying, hey, we're going down to Florida. I bet you the stadium's half full of Leaf fans
It's
anyways.
so going to be half full of Leaf
Right?
fans. I
don't
played
care
this
what-
clip on the last show, Maddie. The Frank Costanza calling Morty Seinfeld.
Hello?
This is Frank Costanza.
What do you want?
You think you can keep us out of Florida? We're moving in lock, stock, and barrel. We're going to be in the pool. We're going to be in the clubhouse. We're going to be all over that shuffleboard court. And I dare you to keep me out.
The pool. Right?
I don't
fits
care
perfectly.
what stupid rules they wanted to put on. It's not going to fucking matter.
No.
Leaf fans are going to still find a way down there, buddy.
Yep.
And they're still going to make
We're like
noise.
lice. We will be there, right? Like
We're like rats, man. So that's why I'm not super
And
worried about a home field
if you're looking
advantage.
for precedent, right, all that stuff, like I said, New Jersey loses 2 in a row at home and then wins the series. Also, Toronto just took 3 road games from Tampa Bay, right, in Tampa, which is, quite frankly, a much tougher building. And
way tougher barn.
Yeah, so we'll see, right? But
I like this optimistic Matt.
he doesn't show his face too often.
I don't even get to see this sometimes in the summer.
No.
In the sunshine.
No, sitting there on the dock drinking beer when life could not possibly be better, and Matt's talking like Eeyore, right? Like the world is just collapsing around him, right? So, but it's a bad spot, right? And you, like I said, right off the very top of the show, they deserved to be down with the mistakes they made early in the second period. But it felt like they deserved to have tied it the way they played in the third, and it just didn't come. And sometimes that's just the way it goes.
I think that's it, right? I mean, I caught the summary of the game as I was waiting for you to send me the link for the recording, and just kind of watching the stats and stuff come along, and literally it felt like Florida had fucking 3 chances.
Florida looked like an 8 seed through most of this game. Like you were seeing the difference.
Didn't look like they belonged on the ice, and that's not a knock against them. It felt like Toronto controlled 92% of the play.
Yeah, I don't think Florida was great, but I think Florida was opportunistic. They took advantage of their chances.
Right?
Yeah.
Where we were flying all over the place like bumblebees. I'm going to try to throw that in every time I get a chance, right?
Sure.
And we just couldn't put the fucking puck in the net. Like, what do you say, man? I don't know. That's why I don't want to be too down right now.
Right.
Because I really felt like that was the game the Leafs want to play. They made a couple mistakes. Yes. So you can always point and say, hey, you made mistakes that led to goals. Sure. That's not always the fucking case, right? It did today. I don't know. Maybe they go in 4. And,
sure.
Maybe we win the next 4, like you said.
Yep.
Right? Like it. So I'm still going into game 3 expecting, hey, we're taking the next 2 at least.
It's funny, though, like
Let's go
on
in.
those first 3 goals against, the 3 goals against that made it 3, all of them on turnovers. One took 7 seconds after a turnover, one took 8 seconds after a turnover, and one was 17 seconds after a turnover. So Florida literally jumping on your fuck up and banging it into your net before you even know what's happening. So this felt a little like you beat yourself a little bit in this one, right?
Definitely, and I got to think that's part of Maurice's kind of plan with the Leafs, knowing that again, not that Florida's a bad team, but Toronto's a far more skilled team. Florida is just as fast as the Leafs and a little bit bigger. Put the pressure on the skilled guys, make them cough the puck up, and fucking turn on it, right? Like that's got to be part of their plan. It looked like it was. They were picking and choosing their spots. Listen, it's about the Leafs fucking doing a gut check here, right? They got a gut check. They got to put their shit together.
Yep.
And they've got to prove that they're fucking real contenders here. Like that's what it comes down to. So, it's like you said, it's a shitty spot to be for them. It's a shitty spot to be for us fans.
Right.
It would be a lot better of a Thursday night if we won, but fuck, man, the fucking sun's gonna come up tomorrow. No, it's not even a Saturday game though.
Sunday,
fuck, man, Jesus, now I'm pissed.
Well, by the time people have heard this, they'll have heard Sheldon Keefe's comments. The big story coming out of this is Matthew Knies, right? And his health. He left the game, didn't return. You, good listener, have probably already heard Keefe's update often enough. He says, we'll check in on it in the morning, right? I don't have a lot to offer you right now. So that's sort of where we're at. We don't know what his health is going to be. He did play another couple shifts after being rock bottomed by Sam Bennett, but then left the game. So we don't know what that looks like, but it's interesting, Matty. He's only, 10, 11 games into his NHL career now. He's become important, right? He's become crucial, and there will have to be lineup adjustments if he's not going to play.
I really thought you were going to say he's 10, 11 years old. Yeah. I thought, I swear to God.
But, what happens now? I haven't loved David Kampf. He's not been as good as he was last year. Would you consider moving, Noel Achari down into that spot with Lafferty and Zach Aston Reese coming back in if Knies can't play? Or is the fact that he did play a couple more shifts a good sign? I don't know, but that it's a bigger deal than it should be when you consider the fact, like I said, he's only played 10, 11 games in the NHL.
He has played, like you said, you're right, 10, 11 games, whatever it is. I think they were always kind of planning to use him as a trade deadline acquisition, right? I think that was always kind of the plan. Clearly why he signed the contract literally the moment he stepped off the ice in the Frozen Four. We knew he was going to be good. They took their time with him. They didn't push him into any spots. He's shown himself. Obviously, he's young. He makes mistakes, but he's been, I think most Leaf fans would agree, very good addition to this team.
More poised than I would have expected for his age, right?
But
doesn't seem to get rattled.
These guys, sometimes these guys they have that mentality, right? I'm worried. Now, again, I've seen the same replays everybody else has, but given the way he went down and the equipment in hockey, my guess is it's either an MCL, so the inner knee,
right.
The inner knee, like a strain on the inner knee, maybe a grade 2 strain. Listen, you really don't need that to play hockey. I got to be honest with you. It's going to have more to do with the swelling. And can he actually push through it and pain tolerance? The issue with hockey is you never get ankle sprains. You get high ankle sprains because the boot holds you tight. And the way he went down, I'm worried that, there's a potential for a lot of tearing of the fascia that basically holds the shin bone to the outer lower leg bone, your fibula, so your tibia and fibula. And that's what a high ankle sprain is. That's fucking shit because that's a boot, and you could be out anywhere from 2 weeks
to be the dreaded injury of the hockey player. You hear about the high ankle sprain, you're like, that's 10 weeks, right?
You just you can't push into it. You can't push off. You can't. In hockey, you're constantly knees over the toes. You can't get into that position. It just kills you. You can't turn. So that could be a long term. I mean, that could knock him out the playoffs. That could knock him out a week. Depends how bad it is. Worst case scenario is there's something to do with his hip, the way he went down. Hoping it's not that. It could have just been a muscle strain.
Yeah, exactly. It's also possible they take care of him. He's got an extra day off, and he's back in there for game 3. Right?
He's a young guy. He fucking built out of rubber bands and glue. He could be right back in, and maybe he just couldn't push off and feel comfortable doing it the way he wanted to in the game, and that's why they took him out. Because you're like, hey, if you can't go 110, you can't be in the lineup, right?
Yeah.
If they don't, back to your initial point there, if he can't go, I gotta think I wouldn't even be surprised if they go 11-7.
Yeah.
And you see a lot
Gio's looked roughed again too, right?
Yeah.
Even through this, right? With Knies out for the second half of the game, those lines being shuffled and there's no chemistry. Like it's Willie playing on every line for the rest of the game while everyone else kind of stays together. And so
that's because he's your most skilled guy. That's why.
Yeah, he's also like he's struggled a little in these playoffs too, right? But he's the guy who kind of gets dropped in everywhere. So you could do that again and kind of keep Florida from defending against specific lines because they never know what's coming over the boards. And Gio, man, he's not looking great, right? Like he took a lot of, I think Justin Hall took a lot of the blame for him in round one, and Hall was worse than Gio, no questions asked. But Gio's struggling a little bit too, and so you could do the 11-7. There was some talk that they might do it for this game, and they decided not to. But that maybe is the option if Knies can't go. Is you keep the same 11 forwards that finish the game for you this time, and bring Gustafsson back in on the left side to. Try and match the speed of Florida a little bit and similar to what you were asking for in Game 6 out of Tampa, navigate the neutral zone and help with the breakouts. Right?
Always comes with a little risk, and if it doesn't work out, obviously, we'll crucify the coaching staff. But I think this is maybe an opportunity where, again, you can pick and choose your spots with your defense pairs. And, man, we're down, like you said.
You could at home, now you're on the road. They're going to pick and choose their spots. So
I just mean, throw them out when when you want and how much you want, and offensive zone stuff versus defensive zone
defensive
stuff.
Zone, Gio is out there and on the penalty kill, and then on the offensive zone in the power play, Gustafsson takes those minutes. Maybe,
exactly, right? And then like you said, we're down 2-0. You don't want to go down 3-0 in hockey, right?
No.
So, fuck, man, get Matthews on the ice, right? Get Marner on the ice.
That is the thing about the 11 forwards is all your stars play a couple more minutes, right? They're out there more often. There's a price to be paid. There's a trade-off when it comes to chemistry and knowing where who you're going out there with next. But it does keep your stars on the ice more often. So we'll wind this one down here. Leafs down 0-2 heading to Sunrise, Florida. That game is at 6:30 on Sunday afternoon. The whole thing is strange.
It's strange. It's strange.
We'll deal with it. As I've said online a couple times, I'm fine with the starting 30 minutes earlier and gets us doing this 30 minutes earlier and gets me to bed 30 minutes earlier. So
I'm throwing the. I told you, Game 6 Tampa. I stayed home because every time I left the house, we lost the game. The last 2 games, I've been home for losses. So I made a reservation at one of the hockey bars in the city for Sunday at 6:30. Okay, so I'm going to catch the game with one of my buddies from Beer League, and hopefully we can change the juju.
That'd be good, man, because we badly need it. But that's it. Leafs down 0-2, headed to Miami for Game 3. For Matty Lang, my name's Matt Robinson, and we will see you after Game 3.